Hey guys, it's Saturday, and here we bring you another show with hopefully no interruptions. But my provider pisses me off. If it's a little blurry, I apologize. That happens before the stream starts to lag and cut out. Psycho Fire was the first one in the chat. Bring in beer, because we all need a drink. Sora Luna was next. And obviously, I've got a co host here. Say hello.
Hello there, guys. Welcome, and thanks for spending your Saturday early evening with us. I hope it's as interesting as we make it.
I hope we make it.
Does
more
that even make
interesting
sense? Yeah, I hope you like what we have to sell.
And as usual, we're just gonna offer our mellow conversation and try to talk about topics and look at them as different as we can and be open about them, and we'll see where it goes. We will see where that goes. I am trying to fix that.
You fixed that. Well, it was Wednesday when I posted something to Num about the Georgia Guidestones, and you know, Num is kind of a virgin to all these conspiracy theories, and he was intrigued because he's also kind of a math whiz, and it got his what are they, hackles? It got his hackles up because he right away saw like numbers in the text, and he was picking up things that heck are way above my head, and yeah. So I think we're going to start with that, and then see where we end up. Because you know, here on the Numbed Wasteland, we're kind of free form, and we go where the conversation takes us, and yeah, we'll see where we end up. Maybe we'll need a map to find our way back. Maybe you guys in chat can help us get back. You all fixed there, Num?
I don't even know. I think it's YouTube, to be perfectly honest. I'm broadcasting green, they're receiving red.
Oh well. I mean, how are the levels and whatnot for you, chat? Is everything 5x5? Can you hear us at all?
I'm beginning to wonder, did YouTube cut us off? They can't allow us to divulge unknown secrets that we're not even sure about? How dare they?
I'll ask it. I'll ask in chat.
All right. I took a few things off the screen, hoping that would help out. Because last time when I shut a few things down, I honestly think my service is just running slow.
Sora says everything's fine on her end, so
Numbed's a little low. I tell you what I'll do.
Numbed's always a little low.
Let me sit back, relax, and get closer to my microphone, and we'll see how low I can go.
How low can you go? Oh my!
It's a little low as usual. Well, I am usually unusual. Let me see if it freaks out over me opening, I think, 19? Nope, wrong image. 14.
What, do you have a image of the Georgia Guidestones?
I have an image of a small section of it, and I apologize that it's blurry for chat. Somebody's at the door.
Knock, knock, knock.
Somebody's at the door. Back door. Some reason.
Ba-da-ba-da.
I don't understand.
So what are we seeing there? What's that say?
We're seeing the first couple ones, and let's talk about the first one, because this hung me up for a second. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Okay. So let's stop and think about this. This was erected in 1981. And in 1981, there was no food shortages in the world.
No, but there
was more than 500 million people.
Oh, we were at 4.8 billion and growing, and the conversation of the elites is that, population explosion, the planet can't handle it. It's going to get worse and worse, and then things are going to hit the fan.
Okay, and let's break this down again because I was thinking about this. I linger on puzzles. I stop and I think about this and I evaluate certain things. And while I haven't systematically done this with each of them, the top one being the first caught my attention.
Welcome,
And,
Doc Riven.
hey, welcome, Doc. 500 million. A half a billion.
It's a nice small number that 150 to 500 families can control.
I want you to also think about the fact if you change the scale of this, let's misinterpret on purpose to adjust and think through. We're assuming this tablet because of the languages and the presumption made that this is the world. Where does it say?
It's in all the languages.
Maintain humanity.
Well, the humanity means the world. It isn't humanity saying United States.
Okay, well that's semi-fair.
I mean, go ahead.
I'm just wondering if you misinterpret this as a country and think our population, we're going to be there in a few years.
Reread it again. Reread it again.
Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Now, hold on. Let me establish the second line, though. I just wanted to establish the first. The first is 500 million. I just think if I misinterpret that to just the country, we're not far away.
We're at 350 million. But yeah, in other words,
a few more years we'll be there.
If they wanted to say that, then maintain the United States at 5, but it's humanity. Humanity crosses all borders.
It doesn't. You got to remember.
You got to remember.
Of the location.
You got to remember now that we're talking about the globalists. So there is no country. There are no countries under the globalist scheme. That's the whole point. They want to be on top. They want to rule the world. Okay, they're going to do it by money. They're going to do it by debt. They're going to do it by owning everything. And they're going to do it by regulating our lives away.
Okay, well, let's move to the next line in the same section. In perpetual balance with nature. And you asked, what is nature? And I would ask, how do you define a perpetual balance with nature? Because we as humans create other animals by our will using nature. So you can always redefine nature.
You can see all... Okay, go ahead.
And
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying. I don't mean it in a mean way. I just try to break this down into individuals, and then we'll look at it as a whole, and then break it down differently.
Right? No, obviously. I hear you. You're trying to read it as a positive, and
I'm still reading it as a negative. I also see the 500 million people on the planet does make some sense, but in the same accord, we're kind of reaching 500 million people in America, and that would be a wise number.
You know what? There a hell of a lot of America has zero people. The whole premise that this planet can't handle a certain number, A, is pointless. B, we don't even know
it's the planet. It's not the planet.
Secondly, this whole planet, I'm going to continue thinking it is the planet. This whole planet doesn't have a maximum size, and if it did come to that maximum size, this planet will figure out a way to control the population. In other words, the unmitigated gall of somebody suggesting that they have the ability, or they should have the ability, to control something like this Again, what's his name? Carlin said it best. If when this planet gets sick of us, it'll shake us off like a bad case of the fleas, and the
Oh,
next
absolutely.
and the next animal will take our place. So for them to literally try to control the population, let's face it, it's an automatic balance. We can't grow more than this Earth will support. If we get anywhere near it, we die. And once we die, there's less population. Once there's less population, we're back to a balance. So, but these people, they're saying that in the guise of being, one with nature, but in actuality, they want a nice small size so they can control the population very easily.
Well, that does make sense, obviously. If I was going, again, you've been a supervisor before. I think you and I have had this talk. When you run a group of people, you have to understand that there is a manageability to it. You can't go out there and manage 100 people because you can't watch over what 100 people are doing. 20, maybe 30 people, most. You can kind of pay attention to what most of them are doing
That's
and
when you
monitor and engage.
that's when you and I go into a situation where we are trying to make a goal and try to control our efforts, but these people are putting themselves in the position of power. These people are dictating what they want. These people, nobody voted for them, and as far as I know, human beings are free to do what the hell they want. If a tribe in the jungle wants to live off of bananas and live in huts, all the more power to them. But these people want to move everybody out of nature and shove them into, you know, little cubicles and feed them, what is it, genetically altered food, and they want to make people just dumb enough to not complain and just smart enough to do their work for them.
I think the margin for that balance happened after I was born.
Yeah, I
I'm not
know. I mean,
sure.
the way
Sometimes I
it's
don't
going,
know.
people are getting pretty friggin' dumb.
Ah, you see it daily. You see it daily. When kids don't respond to what parents tell them, and then you
See,
explain that they didn't
see,
punish, and they go no.
John Doe has got it right. It's a false sense of control. Is just a state of mind. It's a human construct. I mean, yeah, you can put on seatbelts, you can not drive fast, but you know, you still aren't in control, even if you're a really great driver, because who knows what the hell? Hell, a tree can fall on top of you, a car can come out of nowhere. Some idiot could be trying to pick a car up with a tow truck and it just gets away from them. It could be anything. It could be a milk truck sliding down a hill, heading straight for you. I mean, control is just that. It's a human construct. It's a false sense. We think we have control. We'd like to believe we're in control, but and these people want the power. They need the power. They've got everything except the power they want to have. Okay, so
Yeah,
go
they'll
ahead.
be there soon. Now,
That was the first. That was the first two lines.
yeah, we've been through the first two lines. I actually have to pull up a window. Everything seems to be looking good. So, you know what I'm gonna say? Fuck you, my ISP. Can I make this bigger? Maintain humanity. Oh, we just read that one. Guide
Yeah.
reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Um, we went the wrong way with that, I
It
think.
sounds. It sounds like they're breeding horses.
Yeah. Well, if you want to breed, and hopefully nobody takes this the wrong way, if you want to breed a civilization of something that will work. We've done this. We know how to do this. It's easy to understand. We breed horses. We breed dogs. We breed
It's called
ox.
the animal. It's called the animal husbandry.
Right, and we understand that you have to select wisely, because if you randomly do it, you get a random outcome. The wiser you select, the better the outcome.
Again,
So,
control. They want to control our breeding. What does
well,
that mean?
they're an
Does that
awful
mean we got to
far
have
away.
a license to have a kid, like in China?
You know, I remember this coming up, I'm sure you also do, in the early and mid 90s. Not a license, but you remember the debate where the country was having, and I don't remember why, over whether or not we should try to look at policies like what China had with the 2 children?
Yeah, the
Do you
two
remember
children.
that whole thing in the 90s?
Well, you know, I can understand it in China because what are they, a billion? They're over a billion. They were
Yeah.
having trouble even feeding their population. But again, this is global. This isn't local. And
Oh,
John's got it right. John Doe's got it right. Eugenics and we do breed animals, but we don't necessarily know what the hell is going on. I mean, you know, we think we know everything, but what we don't know is probably 100 times more.
and you don't know what you don't know until you know what you didn't know. And
Yeah,
when you know what you didn't know,
you
there's
know,
so much more.
sounds like among the hidden book series. You know, there's another. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Forbidden Books, but there's a Forbidden Book series, books that have been specifically either bought to extinction and destroyed or locked away. It's on the internet now. If you do a search for them, they're pretty interesting reads.
Okay, number 3,
You
which
see what John Doe just
we
said?
got how many dogs and cats have propagated
Propagated
negative
negative
traits? How
traits.
many purebred animals have continued genetic diseases?
Right, and
That's very true.
a lot of purebred animals have problems, hip dysplasia. Hell, look at little what are they, bulldogs? They're
Yep.
constantly drooling and sniffing.
Yeah. And I've explained this before, that there comes a point when you're breeding an animal and you're trying to breed them so pure that the options become slim, and you inbreed the animal, and by inbreeding the animal you end up with a worse outcome.
And understand, most of these damn elitists, that's exactly how they've accumulated their family wealth. They're all about inbreeding. They're all about keeping the money in the family. They're all about marrying their cousins.
Hmm.
That's a. I mean, look at the royals.
Show me where Ivanka Trump is inbred.
No, well, I wouldn't call Trump elite. I mean, he's rich, but I don't think he's elitist. He's definitely a member of the club, but I think he's a member of the club by his bank account only, and the jury's still out. I mean, I'm hoping that he's more down to earth than a lot of people think he is, but we will see.
Yeah. This next one, the last one you guys can see on the screen right now, because I didn't have a lot of time for setup. Unite humanity with a living new language. Now, this one is weird. You. With silicone. I like that.
It might be English.
Really? Do you think it's English?
Because well, English is the international language for pilots. English is a constantly evolving new words. English is also has almost a word for literally everything, where a lot of other languages fall short. So it might be English. Esperanto, Doc Griffin says.
Esperanto. What does that mean? Anybody? Somebody
No,
help me.
that's a language.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm unfamiliar with the actual language. I've heard it in sci-fi and whatnot.
Hmm. We already have binary, but binary was already
Well, yeah.
around at the time this happened. If you're going to invent a new language, it has to be something post. And let my mind go conspiracy, if it will. If you're going to invent a new language, the only people that would know the language or how to speak it, and if it were English, it would just contain key words that would identify the specifics of the separate language.
Mathematics is the universal language. That one goes beyond the earth.
Yeah, but it would be a new language, and it would be a very rare, unspoken language that only those who know it would know what was coming or understand it.
Well,
If that
that's
makes sense.
that's your interpretation.
Well, wouldn't it be? Wouldn't you only give it to those you believe should be in that population?
Well, remember what the line says. It wants everybody to speak that language.
Right. But you only, well, fair enough. You could read that both ways. This is why this is a difficult thing to read over and try to contemplate.
Read it over again.
Uh, Unite humanity with a living new language.
Right. Again, humanity, everyone that is human.
Number
So we
4.
all speak the same language. We all can understand each other. There are no more misinterpretations.
Do you know what else I notice in here? Instead of using commas, they use dashes. Do you see?
Interesting. See, that's Numb and his mathematic code breaking. You see, I didn't even notice that, and he saw that. And what was the two words that, in other words, the name of the guy, and it said it's a false name. What was it? But they misspelled it.
They misspelled pseudonym or
Right, they misspelled pseudonym, and the name of the guy is what?
Oh, I don't have that one up on my screen right now.
Oh, okay. Anyways, and if you combine those letters, it can also spell out untouched conspiracy using all those letters with the misspelling.
Where did that go?
Esperanto is a hybrid language between Romantic and German tongues. William Shatner starred in the only Esperanto language film Incubus. Thank you, Doc Griffin. Greetings, Heinrich. Welcome to the stream.
Welcome. We love the newcomers. I sent out I liked the stream to see if YouTube didn't promote it. I put it out on Twitter. Let's see. Number 4, rule passion dash faith dash tradition dash and all things with tempered reason.
Don't we all, Doc?
So that would be fair to allow for? What how would you interpret that with tempered reason? To allow it but don't allow it to take over, I guess?
Yeah, I assume.
That's the only way I can read that. The thing that caught me off guard is when I looked at it, I didn't see the commas, I saw the dashes. And the dashes don't quite make sense.
Well, if you think about it too, I mean, if you follow all this in 1, 2, 3, in other words, like the plan. So they've got the humanity down to 500 million. They've controlled how humanity is going to propagate. They want everybody to be speaking a singular language. And now, if they're going to control them with the rules and a government, do it kind of in a soft way, a soft touch. Because I mean, if you think about it, if they have nothing to lose, and they have also no enemies or no people trying to topple them, then they can just do a slow massage, kind of like leading a horse without whipping them. You just use the reins and a little,
Yeah.
to make them go in a certain direction.
Yes, Hunley, the Georgia Guidestones. That's what we're looking at tonight. We're starting by reading through them, and then we'll see where to go from there, because there's a whole bunch of interesting things about it. After the first few, some of these get real boring real quick. The next one being protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. The English language is weird, Dada, don't you think? You can read this two ways with a couple of the words in here. Protect people with fair laws and just courts. Or protect people with fair laws and just courts.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Interesting. And we don't necessarily know how it's reading on the other languages too, so it could be interpreted differently on the other languages and sound like this in English.
See, no, I was wondering that myself, as other languages, again, don't interpret well from English, and when you translate them out of English, they sound different. And then when you translate them back to English, you realize how different they sound because it changes a lot of meaning of different sentences.
Yeah, John Doe said fair laws means nothing without a fair court.
Right, but it doesn't say a fair court. It says with just court.
Just court, right.
And
in other words, you're saying just as opposed to a court of justice. Right, so, only a court. So even any problem you have to bring to court. Any problem whatsoever.
Or
any
what
disagreement
if the court comes to you?
Yeah, I am the law.
I was watching them before myself as well. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. The
UN.
That seems fair, doesn't it?
Not if the world court is run by global corporations.
Yeah,
and then it'll be really scary, and that's a lot to do with the PPT and the North American Trade Agreement and the one we pulled out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Yeah,
all those agreements. Hell, a company in Germany could come over to the United States and literally tell the EPA, we can go ahead and sell this even though it's poison. And a matter of fact, anybody who tries to stop us, we can fine them. I mean, you realize that global rules and a global court superseding national rules and a national court basically nullifies nations.
Yeah, no, it would turn nations into nation states. It's something like what the EU is trying to do.
In name, nations in name only.
Avoid petty laws and useless officials.
There you go.
Yeah, they have to be useful to you, or they're useless.
And they're only petty. And they're only petty by somebody's point of view.
Balance personal rights with social duties. Oh shit! I hate that word.
Do you want to be a citizen?
Social duties.
Join the Space Force.
Social.
Join the Space Force. Kill space insects, and you can be a citizen too.
Petty laws is highly subjective. That's true. That is very true. What I find highly subjective is the social duties. So we as the people overseeing the group or speaking for the group feel the best thing for the group is for you to do this. This is what you are going to do, says the group. We speak for the group, even if the group says something else.
You said duty.
Duty. I do.
Next.
Duty. Let's see, where are we? Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. But what would the infinite be? That's misleading.
Well, that sounds like a new religion.
Okay. And you must sweep the floors. It is your civil duty. Number 10, and the last one on this list, sorry for the pop. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature.
Welcome, Hunley. Welcome, Hunley. And yes, they are here.
They, them, their, zer, zex, and all the others have come to visit us.
You know they. You know the movie They, right? Do you remember that movie? Okay, they're this is like the mid '80s, and it's a working stiff and another working stiff, and they come to realize by putting on these sunglasses they found that everything around them isn't what it seems, and the signs that were normal advertisement are big white signs with black lettering that say obey, and then another sign says consume, and another sign says, government is God. Believe in the government.
I have seen at least parts of that movie. Yes,
and then they start seeing people, but they're not people. They're numbskulls. They're people with no skin. They're aliens, and it seems like all the aliens are dressed up and they're wealthy. And
I'm gonna have to go watch it just because I'm in it. I'm just gonna have to go see it now. If I haven't seen it already. If I have seen it, fuck it, I'll watch it again.
A matter of fact, you know what's his name? The guy who does the Kumite. Tonka. Tonka. You know Tonka's avatar on YouTube. I think that's a picture of what they look like. It's kind of like a skinless. It's like a skinless skull.
Okay, so now let me look at these. There's more to this, guys, but let's look at what we've gone over already. These are the 10 rules. These are the guides, the commandments, whatever you want to refer to them as, depending on how you came about learning on them. Something I noticed just in the stream is the dashes as opposed to commas, where commas or semicolons would belong and would probably be somewhat cheaper, I would think. Maybe. I don't know. Also, I'm wondering what... Obviously, you pay for this. It's a huge project. They probably paid a huge lump sum, so by word or by letter wouldn't be a problem. Right? Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Some guy walked into a stonemason's place. He plunked down a bunch of cash. He had everything all written down and set up. He said, "This is what I want, and this is where it's going." And nobody knows the guy's name. Nobody knows where he's from. He left a false name, and that's as far as we know.
Okay.
And it is sitting on private property.
We look at this, and I have a few comments about the overall. We look at this, and we're trying to make sense out of it. So you are RC Christian.
Yes, RC
we can get to that, right. Henrik. Hold on. But you say order, confusion, mixed up things. So my mind immediately goes to, okay, the best way to find what's mixed up is look for what's not right. Look for the differences. Look for the things that are changed that you don't always look at. Look for what other people don't necessarily see. Something I did in my past was I guess you could say it's quality control.
Or thinking outside the box.
Yeah, well,
I
hold
tend
on.
to, I tend to have a very detailed sight also.
Now, one of the tasks I did in a Votech class was to look at a piece of paper that was printed out, and I could tell you what the line weight on that printout was. I could tell you how thick that line was by looking at it, whether it was
Right,
0.17 or 0.20 or
right.
0.24. I could tell you by looking at it because,
I could tell you if something's off by a half a degree in an
right,
angle. Right,
you start to key into those things, and then you look for the differences, and that's how you stare at what's is right, and then what's wrong just kind of stands out. So why not commas? Commas are in the first one, but not in the rest of them.
right.
So they weren't eliminated. You could have just had all those zeros without a comma. You could have had
You're.
commas through the rest of
I
it.
mean, again, there could be a hidden coded meaning under this text, and a
Maybe.
lot and a lot of people, what they say that a lot of these elitists are Satanists too, and Satanists are all about putting stuff out there in plain sight. They want to almost have the global consciousness recognize their plan before it even happens. That's why you see a lot of these people looking back at movies and whatnot, and they're finding little clues like 9/11 on clocks, and even in The Simpsons, there was a clock that said 9/11. Or when The Simpsons went to New York, there was a poster where it said 9/11, and it showed the Twin Towers, and I think it even showed an airplane. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of YouTube's videos regarding that.
I'm sorry,
It's
my mind is spelling every single word in here to make sure there's not an
Yeah,
extra
don't
letter in
don't be
fitness.
decoding. Don't be decoding on the stream, dude. You could do that. You could do that when you have a little time,
All
but
right.
don't do it now.
So,
But yeah, it's kind of neat. There could be a lot. There could be a lot more under it if we had other people to read the other pages in the different languages. We could compare what one says compared to the other. Maybe there are differences. Then you can take that cube you noticed. There's a one of these stones has a cutout at the very top. It's a little square
it's
cutout.
actually the one on the screen. That's why I picked this picture. The
And
English side, at the upper right-hand corner of the English side, has a missing location. It's got a
yeah,
square.
right in the corner, it's missing a square. There's a square hole basically. And now, what I don't understand is that cube that they destroyed. Was that there the whole time, or was that added later and then destroyed later?
It was okay. I'm trying to trace this down, but it's really hard to figure out. Apparently, there's pictures out there that I haven't seen to confirm that show before the cube was removed, before it was cut out from the stone originally.
No,
And
no, it was.
then, hold on.
Oh,
And
really?
then, once the cube was removed, mysteriously, the cube with the numbers showed up fitting in that spot.
And
And
then
then
later,
they couldn't figure out where it came from, and they figured it didn't belong there, so they pulled it out and broke it.
okay, and
That's to
this
the best of
place.
my knowledge what I can gather of the situation with the
And
weird
this
cube.
location also has a buried time capsule, but it has no date on when to unbury it.
It's a bomb.
Well, yeah, there's other people that said it's a virus to chop down the population.
I
So
got one for you. If it was, the older it is, the better. The longer it sits, the better.
This is okay. This conspiracy on the Georgia Guidestones is one of the not one of the earliest, kind of dealing with the elites and the globalists, but it's one of the most bizarre and one of the most with the biggest questions looming.
Right.
Now, I don't know how much more you have to talk about on the Guidestones, but
I've barely even scratched the surface of so far.
okay.
Well, no, I guess
was
we're
just
about halfway through what I figured
I,
out.
I was just wondering. I know we've talked in brief about Q, and
Oh yeah,
Q
we need a show for him. We need a follow-up show for this.
Q is also something about globalists and elitists and whatnot. And there's a new video out that I've been pasting all over the place, but it's like pearls before swine. It's like I'll paste it everywhere, and then I'll come back and I'll go, "Hey, how did you like the video?" I didn't see it.
Is that the one you and I were talking about before stream?
Yeah, the video.
I should watch it again, but
the video is called Q, the plan to save the world, and it is pretty damn good. I got to tell you, and I'm still not 100% an anon by any means, but I would really like to believe that there is this war going on, that there is hope for a better future, that finally these elitists and globalists are getting the war brought to them, because that's what all the Q is all about.
Can only hope. I am looking to pull up another image here as soon as I figure out where I put it, and I'm in the wrong folder.
I mean, the thing about the elites being Satanists, I mean, yeah, what was it? Alex Jones snuck into the Bohemian Grove. I don't know if have you ever heard of the Bohemian Grove? Skull?
I don't think so.
Okay, the Bohemian Grove is a small area I think it's California, and it's out in the trees in a deep forest, and there's a tiny little road that goes to it, and it's a retreat. And once a year, every year, everybody, I mean, this is like a Bilderberg gone camping. Everybody who's anybody, all the who's who, all the government officials, all the rich, all the powerful, they all go there. And it's friggin' creepy, because what they do there, among partying very hard and going kind of bananas, is they also have satanic rituals. They have something called the cremation of care ceremony, where if you go through this ceremony, you are basically cremating the care you have for strangers, for others, out of your body. You care about your family, you care about your loved ones, but that's about as far as it goes when it comes to caring for people. And they all basically have this satanic ritual in front of a 40-foot owl, and yeah, it's pretty damn scary. And
Okay.
that's why a lot of, that's why you hear about these elitists being Satanists, because they actually do practice Satanism. They believe that Satan is the good God. Satan was the God that gave us knowledge, that turned us from animals naked in the Garden of Eden to knowledgeable human beings with shame and for being naked, and the knowledge of fire, and the knowledge of tools, and more, the ability of even creating more and more knowledge. So that's what they believe.
Moving on, now that I have another
Moving
image up that helped me get some time in. So, let these be guide stones to an age of reason. Okay, so looking at this, data didn't catch this. And I don't know if you're looking at the Hangout or the live stream, but I have the is this the one in the ground where there's a capsule underneath? Or is this just the commemorative stone that just explains shit?
No, I think that's the one laying on the ground with the capsule underneath.
Okay.
But it doesn't show any date to pull it out.
Okay. So, there's something I did notice about this earlier when you and I chatted that you didn't notice, and I don't know if the chat sees this. So I'm going to read what you see on the screen. The Georgia Guidestones. Center cluster erected March 22nd, 1980. Babylonian cuneiform, Egyptian hieroglyphics, classical Greek, and Sanskrit. Okay? Does anybody see anything
holy
weird?
Shit. So basically nobody could read unless you were a doctor of dead languages. Nobody could read that.
Okay, so this is the top stone. This first part here explains what's on the top stone. There's 4 languages around the top stone that you see in between each stone. And then each stone has 2 languages, one on each side. So entirely, that means there's 12 languages on this whole structure.
Okay.
Okay, so if the other 11 languages differ from English in what they're saying, then that changes things. And I haven't looked at any translations yet. I haven't had a lot of time looking at this. But I look at what pops out first. Does anybody else see something odd about the title? Do you remember what I told you, Data? What struck me? Do you remember my question? Was anybody here yesterday?
Is that V or TNE? No, that is V. Okay, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
it is
My eyes are blurry.
Center cluster.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay, so these are the Georgia Guidestones. A cluster is a group of stones. This is a cluster of stones. So the center cluster
of stones
was erected on March 1980.
Meaning
and then
that
you
there are
explained
other
to me
clusters.
there was another location, right? With another stone, right? Now, it doesn't mean there has to be other clusters.
Okay.
It
but
just
there should be other stones.
Right.
Yeah. I think, isn't there a big stone in the UN? In the chapel? Isn't there a big damn stone in the chapel in the UN?
I don't know. I know you told me about the one in the FBI, so I started doing a little stupid looking. Another thing I noticed, and I can't tell for sure from the diagrams, because while they give you all the measurements of the height and the dimensions and what's where and everything.
That was the CIA, by the way, not the FBI.
CIA. While it gives you all those measurements, I didn't see one that gave me an angular declination of the direction of the guide stones. I also didn't see one that gave me angular difference between the 4 standing stones, and I'd understand there'd be obviously opposing acute and opposing obtuse angles between them from the looks of them. Why are the angles not 90 degrees?
Yeah, good question. Could it be that the tablets are pointing to different either the 4 directions of
whatever the cluster is in?
Right.
Okay,
or that.
You show this to me, and I'm immediately going to pick out what I think are stupid, basic things that people have probably already questioned. Because in my mind, if they're the first thing I come up with, or one of the first things, then somebody else came up with it, right? But then you
you got to have more confidence, man.
All right, so a couple of things I've noticed so far with this is today I noticed the dashes, and previously I noted that this is a center cluster.
Right.
So if this is a center cluster, it means there needs to be markers, or something is delineating a direction or another point to go. which means differentiations in the ciphers between languages could be an answer. The cube missing from the English section could be an answer. Items that are incorrect or spelled wrong or grammatically wrong or listed wrong somehow could be an answer. The matching up of directions of the cube in the guidestones, or matching something from that guidestone to another guidestone. Any one of those things could be important.
Right.
But then, and I don't have this pulled up as a picture yet, when you look further into them, the guidestones are 4 standing stones on the outside, a center standing stone, and a top stone. In the center standing stone, there is a slit that's narrow on one end and wide, but still the same height on the other side. In the top stone, there's an angular hole that goes off, and you can see the North Star. And through another angle of something, you can see the sun. Like, there's different holes and marks through
one
here.
is the summer or the winter solstice, the sun coming up, and one's the North Star.
So that leads me to two thought concepts. One of them is that there's a key, and this I saw in one of the videos I think you sent me, is that there's some sort of key or something you have to put somewhere that identifies something or decodes something. And then that just didn't seem quite right.
Well, it could also be the light. In other words, I've seen where you've had ancient ruins where they're set up, let's say on the summer solstice and whatnot, and they have a hole drilled through them. And at that particular moment, the light beams a certain point of light to something.
Right. And you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. This
Right.
is so far beyond me. It could be as simple as something in here tells you to do something. Has anybody seen Contact? Well, there's directions on how to build this great machine, but no time passed. But the recording is 9 hours long. All sorts of weird shit.
Right.
Which leads me to, because we're approaching the hour, one of my little tangents I kind of came up with as my mind was spinning down the drain with this topic. I will sit in a spot and watch videos and just let my mind go, yeah, it's real. Yeah, that's real. Yeah, that's real. Yeah, that's real. Okay. And then I come back and go, but wait. We today, and on this show and previous shows, discuss what we feel are conspiracies or plots for governments or high-powered citizens or elites to take over or change or manipulate the world or the way people live in it or the population in it, right? We openly think about and talk about this. This is a regular thing for us. Other channels, this is a common concept.
Do you see what John says?
The conclusion I've come to is that religions are simply the ritualization of spirituality, many of which are designed to develop and foster social groups. Correct. Yeah, I know that. But Pinky in the brain. But
I love that.
I want to offer this. What if there is absolutely nothing but some smart ass, literally extremely smart ass person who just, I have money and this puzzle and this sounds like fun. People for hundreds of years won't know. This will be my legacy.
Yeah.
And then through time, let's say 2300 ADE or AD or however we're going to...
Somebody gets fed up and digs up the damn time capsule and it says, ha ha!
Ha, what took you so long to break the puzzle?
Hunley, John Doe, I've got 2 videos in my playlists that you'd love that talk about religion and actually talk about how most religions are based on the sun and stars.
Yeah.
Even Catholicism,
Even our
the
calendar.
Son of God. So
Sunday.
yeah, you'd like those videos.
But you know what I'm saying? What happens
Yeah,
if
no, I hear
the
you.
same concept was
But the
done
thing,
thousands of years ago, and we get these conspiracies because every couple hundred years, some really brilliant
yeah,
person just goes, "I'm gonna fuck with people because I'm bored, so I'm gonna make them
yeah,
all little."
just like 1,000 years from now, the aliens are going to be scratching their head, go, "What the hell is a Tesla car floating around Mars?" And
you
you know
see,
what? Tell me something. Okay, tell me this. How in the hell can you have an electric car with batteries the size of the entire car and not be smart enough to hook the cameras up to the friggin' battery of the car and just have some standalone batteries run the cameras for a couple days as opposed to plugging them into the car and probably having them run for a month?
it was a test to see how the battery cells worked in space under
Man, it was
minor
a
strain.
conspiracy because they didn't want to take pictures of the aliens. And then the flat earthers will say, nah, it was a conspiracy because they didn't want to show the cameras bumping into the dome that's over our flat earth. Because, space doesn't exist.
A wild fox appeared.
Well, hello there. Finally.
But I do have to wonder how many conspiracy theories are just because of somebody intelligent out there who made a puzzle. And it goes away once the puzzle's figured out.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, but
because it entertains you, it draws you in.
9/11 isn't a puzzle, okay?
It is to some people. It's just a bunch of math and formulas.
No, what are you talking about?
Everything.
The downing of 3 towers was a puzzle. It was
figuring out what happened and why it happened is the puzzle.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's the puzzle. But I mean, you're looking at this as a gamer, I guess. You wanna figure it all out. I don't think you have the ability. I don't think anybody has the ability. I think some of this stuff is just unless you have a real investigation, unless you have feet on the ground, unless you have people being sworn in and questioned, I don't think you're going to get to the bottom of a lot of these things.
I don't intend to. There's a point when you hit every topic. There is a point where things become unbelievable.
Yeah, but you know what they
say? There's nothing to back up continuing down that.
You know the old saying, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction?
Yeah. So, you know what? I'm going to offer you some weird truth, and I want you to investigate it for me. I think the grass isn't really green. It's blue. But we've been so deluded and lied to for thousands of years now that we think blue is green and green is blue. And what we have to do is we have to get people to realize that blue is really green and green is really blue, so that they'll see things the way they really are.
How do I know the green you're seeing is the same as the green I'm seeing? How about that?
And that's another one. That's another one I love. Is you and I don't necessarily see it the same. So how do we know?
If eyes see upside down, are we on a globe or are we inside a sphere? Are we all standing on our heads? Is the floor under us or over us?
Are we on the planet because the air is pushing us down or the gravity is pulling us towards it?
See, the Wild Fox has it. It isn't the answers. We've got to figure out what the right questions are.
And nobody asked the right one.
Like how the hell do you flatten 3 buildings with 2 airplanes?
Hunley, you know what? Here's a really good add-on.
12 hijackers crash 2 planes and half of them survive.
The classic question from The Matrix, what is real? And you know what? That puts you into a philosophical conversation of how do you define real when you have nothing to compare real to?
To ask what is real, you have to ask what is consciousness.
Well, to ask what is real, you have to say what is not real. You
Well,
can to
if we're
identify
all
one, you either have to de-identify the other,
if we're
or
not conscious, if this is all a dream, then nothing's real. If our consciousness actually creates reality, then what's real if we're all creating reality? If we're all
and what
seeing
if it's
things
not your
differently?
consciousness creating it? What if it's an alternate consciousness
Aha!
that when they wake up, yours erases? But then that wouldn't make sense because your individual consciousness has the ability to make decisions.
You know, the argument also is our
How do you
conscious.
know
You
what's
know,
tangible? Just because you can feel something, does that mean it's there, or does that mean you think it's there? If you
there's
close
some
your eyes and I describe a situation, your mind puts you in that situation. If I
there's
do it
some
right, I can make you feel things.
there's some scientists that believe that we are wetware and software and hardware. In other words, we are a a robot. We are a bunch of parts, and we have electrical and chemical reactions, and our consciousness is inside our head, in our brain. There are other people that believe that our consciousness is beyond our brain, beyond our skull. You know that little feeling you get when you're being watched, the hairs on the back of your head, or how do you explain out of body experiences? How do you explain ESP? How do you explain ghosts? You know, the physical reality is that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It only transmutes. It moves. So if we die, where's the energy inside our body go? There's an experiment where a person is sitting in front of a little device. It's a random number generator, and when this person is told to make with his mind the random number generator come up more odd than even, you know what happens?
It does
The
it.
random number generator comes up more odd than even. So we are, maybe we are affecting what's around us. Maybe what we see is what we create,
Have you ever experienced something that
which
can't be
then tells
logically
you
explained?
if the whole
Yes.
planet believed in peace and love and happiness, would then suddenly there be a quote heaven on earth?
Keep going, Dada. I'll be right back.
Uh-oh. I just finished. Okay, I'm gonna go into chat and read some chat. Sora Luna, tangible equals reality? Question mark. John Doe, no. The real important question is what is love, baby? Don't hurt me no more. Or you know, I don't know if you remember the movie The Fifth Element. Love is the fifth element. Sora Luna, true. The phantom limbs. Yeah, exactly. When an arm gets cut off, people still feel it. If I don't know if you've ever seen those aurora pictures, but they've actually had a carrot, and they'll see the aurora around the carrot, and then they'll cut the carrot and take the piece away, and the aurora is still there as a whole carrot. Or deja vu. That's another, you know, the did we dream this all before? Is it possible that we saw the future in our sleep? Hunley,
Precognition.
okay. I have a question for everyone. Have you ever experienced something that can't be logically explained?
And that's what I read right before I left, but I'm back, and I actually have a few for this. And
Okay.
motorcycles racing down the street, apparently. One, when I was a kid, and this is a nightmare I had as a kid. This is a weird nightmare. For
Was it
weeks, I had a dream that I was in my grandma's backyard, which, by the way, is where I live now, so scary. And I was playing with two rocks, and I picked up a small pebble, and it weighed more than a boulder a small rock the size of my fist. and I couldn't
Okay.
explain it. And I don't know why this was a nightmare, but in my dream, different things contextually weighed improper amounts of weight.
Well, now, was
Now,
this a recurring dream?
it was a recurring dream when I was a kid. A
Okay.
few
I had
years
a.
later, and
Okay.
I've had precognitive dreams many times, and I tend to believe that I'm wrong and that I'm just thinking that it happened in a dream that I had because it makes me feel more sound about my sound of mine. Yeah. So one day, a few years later, as a young teenager, I was in the
Point.
backyard doing work for my grandmother,
Yes.
and I had to lift things and move them for her. And at one point, I lifted a rock up, and then I lifted up a smaller rock, and the
And it was
weight
heavier
difference in the two, and I stopped and I
because
froze holding
you
the
got hit by
rocks.
deja vu,
Yes, but it wasn't just
reliving
that.
the
I
dream.
remembered having this as a nightmare as a kid. And as I continued on with the work, further through the day, other small things would just sort of kick that dream back. And the whole day just forever sat like I never had these dreams. Nope, I'm ignoring all the rest of them from now on.
I had a dream where a monster was chasing me, and it was a recurring dream, and it would constantly chase me. And every night I would have the same dream, and it would chase me, and I would try to run away. And when I was running away, it felt like I was running through. I don't know if you've ever run inside a pool. So it felt like all my limbs were like being held back. And I was running hard as I could, and I couldn't. At one point, I turned and fought the monster. And after I fought the monster, I never had the dream again. And because I realized I was dreaming at one point. And then when I realized I was dreaming and I was awake inside the dream, I realized I could control the dream and create the dream. So then I started like flying around and doing all this crazy, wonderful stuff. And I turned, it was, they call it something. I forget the
Yeah,
name,
they do.
but,
I've
but
only had a couple of those experiences. That's totally
But
different
I
type of
love
dream
those
experience.
dreams. Yeah,
Me
I
too.
love those type of dreams. Okay, let's see.
We are
John
discovering the
Doe.
difference between the density packing of atoms.
Where are
Something
you
like that.
reading? I'm reading John. That's John Silly. Wait, that's silly. It can be explained. Where does energy from a battery go when it dies?
Wait, how
Well,
far up are you? I'm watching live chat go by.
well, yeah. I got to stop. Let me go back one, and the wild fox says, "Now that's a good question." And then he said, the fox said, "Now how about this coincidence? I was looking up Aurora Gold last night. Oh, interesting." And then since we're talking conspiracies, y'all heard of that?
Lucid dreaming.
Uh, no, Aurora Gold.
No,
Aurora
that's what we
Gold.
were
Let me.
talking about, Henrik Tor. I, I think your chat's a little behind mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Aurora Gold is NSA hacks, cell phone networks worldwide. Oh, how the NSA hacks cell phones worldwide. I remember back in the day when the hackers created, when back when I was a kid, there were no tone phones, there were dial phones. So it was like you dialed it and the little ring went round and it went tick 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 for each number. And when tone phones came out, the hackers were able to make these little boxes that made the tones, and you could actually put the tones right up to the receiver without pressing a button, and go beep 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 beep, beep, and all of a sudden you had free long distance.
Yep.
So yeah, I remember that. So,
It was
anyways,
very
that
hard to get a recording through the phones to record when you did that to play it back. I tried that a few times, trying to get that recording to play back through the phone, and I couldn't do it. I could do it now with that technology, knowing what I know now, but I couldn't do it then because I didn't know what I know now.
Okay, I think I caught up to you. John Doe, you were discovering the difference between density of packing of atoms. You know, the strange thing about atoms, most of the atom is actually hollow space. You know, very, very little of it is actually anything. NASA backdoors into cell phone networks, connecting everyone, everywhere to everything. Wild Fox. Yes, yes. It also can turn on the speaker in your smart TV, listen to your conversations. It can do a lot of things. Let's see. Heinrich said, "Lucid dreaming." Yeah, that's what it is. When you can control your dreams, when you're in control of your dreams. Let's see.
Oh,
Once I dreamed I ate a giant marshmallow, and I focused. Oh, that's an old one, Doc. I woke up to find my pillow missing. Let's see. The fox said, "The docs." The fox appears. Say, "Stop the docs, motherfucker." John Doe. My dreams are seen through first and third person, as if they were a movie, including cuts, pans, and zooms. Hey, you ought to be a director.
you're about to catch up
Um,
with the fun one. Here it is.
oh, here it is. Let's see. Hunley, he never disappoints. Pardon my Swahili, but I've seen a metric shit ton of UFOs. I've seen things be thrown across the room by themselves, apparitions, crap floating in midair. Well, on the crap floating in midair, I'd get a different plumber. But I've seen a UFO, and maybe next show. You said you saw a UFO too, right, Num?
I saw a plane floating in an
Right. You saw
unidentified
you
manner.
saw you saw a plane that was frozen in midair. I saw a UFO, and I actually took a picture of it. So maybe I'll bring it into the show next week. Um, Heinrich, every electronic has a back door that you can get into.
You
Yes.
can open my toaster's back door and get in there anytime you
I
want.
mean, hell, just look at what the hell is it? The thing, those damn Yahoo helpers, those little tin cans sitting on the table. You ask it to do things. Now
Oh,
it's
I
doing
won't do it.
things
I won't
that
give
you
up.
won't. Now it's doing things that they don't ask, or you're not asking them to do. I don't think, Sora Luna, I don't think this is anything but bees seem to really like me. They just land on me, hang out, honey, the honey and bumble species. You know, the funny thing about the bumblebees, there are people that say bumblebees shouldn't be able to fly. And there's other people that think that they can fly, but they're not flying through the flapping of their wings. So think about that one. Let's see. Heinrich, I've seen a plane do the same exact thing before, Boris. Wild Fox. I saw a dude flying a chair with a fan and a parachute once. Yes, they can. You can buy those. They're about $5,000. I saw a guy tie 25 weather balloons, helium-filled weather balloons, to a lawn chair and launch himself. And all he had
That
was
was a
a
cartoon.
and all he had was a damn pellet gun to be able to land again. Okay,
So
let's
here's a
see.
weird
I
one.
don't
I'd hate
guys.
to divert because the chat is
Okay,
fun, but I'm looking at this picture still. The chat's also
yeah.
looking if it's not horribly blurry. What is the N? Is that
Huh?
the north? Is that a marker for north?
Oh,
See,
could very
now
well
this
be.
is another thing. I tried to go to Google Earth and mark it, but once I start zooming out from Google Earth, it's hard to keep orientation proper in order to know what direction each angle is pointed at. It's not like I can draw lines out from the location.
Well, didn't they say that? Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I thought they said that those panels were pointing to the directions of the compass.
No, because they're not 90 degrees. Are they?
I think they are.
if they are 90 degrees, then that is a little odd because the center stone at the top isn't square.
It isn't?
It's not.
Yeah, but you know, the thing with digital photography, sometimes shit doesn't look square when it actually is.
It's
You've
not
seen it even in
square.
videos.
All right, let me look at this a little closer. The
Maybe you have to
capstone is 9 foot 8 inches by 6 foot 6 inches. Let me turn my mic so you guys can hear me better. That's why I listen to my own voice. The capstone is the same height as the thickness of the 4 surrounding stones. It is possible that they do point 90 degrees, but it's really hard to tell from any of the pictures that I've seen when they definitively point 90 degrees.
You know why the computer couldn't take his hat off? Because his cap locks was on. Ba-dum-bum.
Oh, did I close it? I did. I can't do that right now. I tried. All right, and then there's the cube. The cube on 6 sides respectively said 8, 16, 20, 14, MM on the top, and JAM on the bottom.
I don't know. I mean, you're asking me questions I can't answer. I don't know what JM
16,
is.
20 are multiples of 4. 14 is not a multiple of 4. Okay, I'll stop deciphering again. So those are the
see, you're getting into the damn code busting again. Damn it!
My
He's
mind
a math
just
whiz.
instantly goes to why and how does that work? Because when I saw MM, instantly I thought 2000 because MM is the Roman numeral for 2000.
Let's see. Heinrich says airships bullshit. Well, you know, in the turn of the century, there was a big sighting of airships all over the damn country, and this was before anybody was flying airships. So there's that. Now they're all gambling. Okay, we've lost them. We've lost them. They're all gambling.
Okay,
now.
hold on. I have an overlook. It's just a drawing. But they don't quite look 90 degrees. They look like an X.
Well, isn't an X 90 degrees, silly?
No, not necessarily.
What do you mean, no?
I'm saying they intersect. They are not perpendicular.
An X is a cross.
They appear to be non-perpendicular.
Okay. Well, right? Maybe we had really heavy in other words, catty corner.
They appear to not have a 90-degree angle at all intersecting.
Okay, yeah. Maybe we had heavy winds. Maybe there's been erosion. Maybe there's been movement. Maybe it was set that way and it's changed since. I mean, Georgia has had some heavy weather over since the 80s.
Have you looked at the weight of these stones?
Yeah, but they're on edge, and they're also a plane. In other words, a flat plane. Have you ever seen what a 150 mile per hour wind can do? It can pick up a friggin' car.
Okay, here's a funny question for you. If you're gonna tell me the wind blew one of these perfectly measured stones, yet none of the rest of them were affected, I think you're wrong.
It just has to change them a few degrees each stone. And remember, if a stone is a leading edge into the wind, it's not going to be affected. If a stone is facing the wind, then it is going to be affected. And now you're talking about, how the stone is set. Is it set on cement? Is it set on another stone? Is it just set in the earth? Is there a foundation that's tying these stones down, or is it just relying on the weight of the stone?
That's a good question. And mathematically, why would you build that to stand and expect it to hold? Because the outer stones weigh the most. They would sink the fastest.
And remember also that the capstone doesn't go all the way out to the leading edge. It goes to the center of the stone. Well, if you got all the weight on the center of that stone, wouldn't it allow the stone to pivot? If, like I said, it's not foundationally secure. But again, But again, yeah, unless we are there, unless you want to take a trip over there,
I'm sure you're
those are
closer than I
questions.
am.
Well, we're probably about the same distance. Florida's a very long, long, long state.
Alberton
That's the
Granite
one.
Museum and
See,
Exhibit.
that's the difference between like the rest of the country. In the rest of the country, you could drive like any direction and go to a town or a city, whereas Florida, it's all just north and south. It is.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
kind of
US
sucks.
one, it goes right up the East Coast. I mean, there's only like two roads that go across the state to the West Coast. There's only like two roads, and then when you get up into Orlando and whatnot, then it gets a little more populated towards the center. But down by me, it's all Everglades and the East Coast and the West Coast.
I remember driving up and down California. It's kind of the same. There's not a whole lot of highways that go across the state, but there's a lot of highways that go up and down
Yeah, you have a lot
perpendicular
of
to the coast.
mountain ranges, so you have like passes, mountain passes to get across.
What is this picture? Where does that come from?
What?
The world's best photos of Chinese New World Order. What? This has nothing to do. Never mind.
Okay, you found a new Chinese restaurant called New World Order.
Something.
New World Chinese Order. New World Fast Short Order.
Apparently, there's a book called The Age of Reason by Thomas
Yeah,
Paine.
that's a classic. Yeah, that's and Thomas Paine happens to be one of the founding fathers.
Hi, I'm NumbedSkull. Enough said.
Let's see. Hey, the Nuggets showed up.
Hey,
Better
the
late than
Nuggets.
never. 19 thumbs
down.
down to
I'd give
give
you
you
20,
20.
but I saved
If you
one for
really,
you,
really
so.
hate it, give us 2 thumbs down. Just click it twice.
If you really, really hate it, give us the thumbs down, and then later come back and tell us why and what you want to see next week. Because we
No,
often sit here.
I'd rather him click it twice. Um, let's see, John Doe. How do we get to Florida in the conversations? Well, hell, you guys started
We got on the highway
gambling,
and drove
so you didn't lead us, so we ended up veering off into Florida. It's like Bugs Bunny saying I should have made a left at Albuquerque.
I am looking up different ways of looking at this. I've seen a couple overview looks, and judging by my eye, none of them look 90 degrees. I'm looking for something that has an angular measurement on there.
To what end and why? I mean, I would think you would, if you want to decode, I would probably apply those numbers to all the letters in the text and see if you can come up with it saying something else. Maybe that'll explain why certain words are used that seem a little off.
Mm-hmm. That's
You know what I mean?
kind of what I'm thinking is, here's my weird thought. I was explaining to you, since this is part of what I'm looking for, that there's only one of the standing columns that has the cube missing. And that if you're going to put something like that in a map, an identifying marker like that, that marker usually indicates something like direction. So how do you determine what direction it's indicating? Well, what are the Guidestones pointing at? Do they identify or mark anything? And then I saw center cluster. So they're the center cluster of what? What are the outside identifying markers, and how do they correlate with the center markers?
I just came up with something. All the languages are dead languages, right?
No. All the 4 primary languages around the top stone are dead languages, and then there's 8 living languages currently used.
Oh, okay. I was thinking that if the Guidestones had their way, wouldn't all the languages that are on the stones be dead?
Now, I was just thinking that too. Wouldn't there be another language somewhere?
Or are one of the languages the language that they want to use to to have everybody speak.
No, because it would have to be a new language. Which one would be the newest? English isn't
Well,
the newest language, just Americanized English.
Is the newest, and wouldn't it be new to everybody that isn't speaking English?
That's true, but well, English isn't the primary world on or
You understand that,
language.
that the U.S. is also the newest country. There's a lot of people. There were like there's
that's not
people
necessarily true.
Well,
We're the largest new for our power versus our age. We are a young country.
Are you saying you mean the Eastern European after the USSR are newer because weren't they countries before the USSR?
I'm saying that we've had countries develop even since the United States has developed.
Oh, okay. I'll bow to your knowledge.
We have North Korea.
It
used to be just Korea. They split into two countries.
No.
A new country was created. Other situations have happened. There are new countries that have created new situations.
North and South Dakota were the Dakota Territory, yeah. But I mean,
right. They were a small part of the Dakota Territory.
Before the U.S., this was just land.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a new country. I mean, North Korea isn't a new country. Yes, it's a new country by calling it North Korea, but it was Korea before it was North Korea.
We're way off topic. And do you know what that means? I think we're hitting the end of the show for today. But these are a really interesting topic.
Okay, fine, be that way.
I'm sitting here scrolling through Google looking for more images at different angles to look at it. And
I think we have like one of the shortest streams out there.
I have a reason for that.
Other streams go on for like 6 to 10 hours, and
do you want me to go on for 6 hours? What am I going to do for 6 hours?
We'd have to change the subject, that's for sure.
And we just hit 3 o'clock, so we're now changing the subject to the color black.
So let's talk about this. Let's talk about next week's topic. What do you want it to be?
Yes, that way I really want to get with you guys. I have ideas. I have a few thoughts. But the problem is, for me and Dada, we want to talk about this stuff. But we want to talk about this stuff that engages
you guys. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking ghosts. I mean, we haven't talked about ghosts yet. And there's a lot of there's a lot of ghost videos.
I suppose, I'm sitting here to myself thinking, ghosts, do I really want to talk about ghosts? And then I'm thinking to myself, shit, I've talked about aliens living in the 7th floor under
You didn't sound too enthused about ghosts.
I see dead people, and sometimes they don't know they're dead.
That was a really pretty cool movie.
The first time I saw it was the best.
Did you see did you see the twist at first? Did you catch it? I
saw things that were telling me something was coming that I couldn't pinpoint it. I saw moments that I kind of like, wait, that didn't make sense. Why didn't this happen? Why didn't that happen? Why didn't she see him?
You know what another great twist movie is? That if you turned off at the end of the movie, right before it ends, you completely missed the twist, and that was Usual Suspects. That was do you remember that movie?
I don't know if I watched that one.
Here's
the thing. I don't always remember the movie I watch until sometimes I know what it was about.
Okay, the movie
is not important to me.
The guy who was kicked off the not the Game of Thrones, the other one, the actor, he supposedly assaulted a teen boy in his apartment, so they fired him from his TV show or his Netflix show. What's his name? Anyways, the
Crazy.
movie is the whole premise of the movie is the guy's being interrogated by the cops, and this is a spoiler alert for everybody. The twist, he's going through this whole story. He's telling about the bad guy and what he did and all this, and how he's just a low individual, and he's trying to be like a little sniveling idiot. When they finally release him and he starts walking away down the sidewalk, first thing he does is put his Rolex watch on. Second thing he does is he looks over and sees like a four-door. Yeah, he was the one who was on K-Pax. Do you remember the movie K-Pax?
No.
God, you don't see any movies. Okay, anyways, he gets into this four-door, I think it's a four-door Jag. Anyways, at the same time, the camera's panning all around the cop's office, and it's focusing in on like letters on the wall and stuff on the pin board and whatnot. And what you're seeing all of a sudden are all the names he used in his confession and all the stories. So in other words, it's all bullshit made up. He's the actual head guy, and the story he came up with is bits and pieces of stuff that's found all over the cop's office. It was a terrific twist at the end of that movie. I mean,
I've
and
seen something like that, yeah.
And the crazy thing is, it was like the last 3 minutes of the movie. So if you like got fed up with it because maybe you were bored of the whole movie or whatnot, and you left, you completely missed the end. And if you completely missed the end, I could see where maybe you didn't really get the movie. But yeah, classic. Usual Suspects. The same guy who was on K-Pax.
I sometimes don't remember certain things because they don't catch a certain thing in my mind. I don't know what it is. It's hard to
exactly,
explain.
John.
I mean.
He was this gimpy little twitchy guy, and as he's walking, when he puts his Rolex on, and as he's walking, and the car pulls up, his limp goes away. Also, I mean, it was great. It was really great. And the editing was great, too. So, yeah.
All right. Well, where are we? We're at 134. You're right, though. We should plan out a nice long stream.
So, wait a second. Did we talk about topic? Let's get a quick topic.
I've been waiting. I've been looking. I see
chat.
Fuck you. We have to talk about fuck you.
Topic. Are you up for ghosts? Are you up for more Q? Are you up for what are you bringing to the table there?
Here's what we have semi lined up. We have another Q stream that we've been talking about, more in depth, more information, maybe taking
Kevin Spacey.
We have. What was the other one? The Blue Book Project. I am waiting for a response for a guest for a second Blue Book Project stream with more information we apparently didn't cover.
Heinrich came up with transdimensional beings and David Icke's lizard people. Don't laugh. What are you laughing? Didn't you know that the royal family were lizard people? Lizard people can basically look like human beings. They can make themselves invisible and tap into our nervous system, and they become us.
Whoa, okay. Why wouldn't they wear our skin as suits?
And you can see it sometimes on TV when they blink. Their eyes are snake eyes.
I was watching my phone upside down, and I didn't. For first, it didn't click because my mind doesn't care if it's upside down. But I looked over at it; it was upside down, and I watched Tucker Carlson blink upside down. And I'm not gonna do that again because that was odd. It was weird.
Okay, we got Ghostbusters. We got Blue Book. Only catch the alt fright. We got No, stop everything. Fuck this stream. I don't got no bones. Oh, Nuggets, give Nuggets some bones, please.
Anybody want to give Nugget their bone?
And they live in the Hollow Earth. Yeah, Hollow Earth is a good topic.
Oh, I also have one that I'm sort of lining up that we talked about before. It's like a text stream. Since it's been a slight topic of conversation, I kind of lining up new age.
Hunley also has one, the Jinn. You know the Jinn? You know what the Jinn are, right?
Yeah, they're the beings that control the elements.
The Jinn are the genies.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
no, the
like
Jinn
I
are the
dream a
genies
genie.
that control specific elements, aren't they?
The Jinn. I always thought the Jinn were male genies or the bosses of genies.
There's that. This show can
Let's
go
see.
in so many directions.
Boris knows. I think the lizard people one is bullshit. So, Heinrich said that you know that he thinks it's bullshit. That's why you laughed. How do I donate? You can donate by
ask if you would really like to. I don't push my link because I don't ask people to, but if you want to, just ask the bot for the link by typing Streamlabs.
Yeah, just go Streamlabs and he'll give you the link. Heinrich said, sure, Hollow Earth. And then Nugget says, I'll treat your bone right if you give him some bone. And then let's see, Hunley, the Jinn is interesting because most Muslims believe in them, and you're absolutely right, they do. The Jinn is a Muslim belief. They also believe that the Earth is flat. They also believe that drinking piss is a cure for most things. They have a lot of beliefs. It's pretty interesting.
Some people
donate bones. Okay, Heinrich wants to donate bones. Heinrich, I know the Streamlabs. Okay.
It's !give space at person space number of bones.
Okay, Nugget said,
Sorry,
but I need to drop $2 just for that, NumbedSkull.
No, you don't. Leave it.
Let's see.
I misread that. I was misreading. No
Skinwalkers are cool. There's not a whole hell of a lot of video. There's about 2 videos about skinwalkers. They're a belief of the Indians. The Jinn are demons. Heinrich said.
I want to say the Jinn have specialties, but they're also not regular genies. Although if you look at the old stories of genies, I guess
Hunley says they're born of smokeless fire.
They also
that means no cigarettes?
They intentionally grant wishes incorrectly to purposefully cause torture to the person asking for the wish.
Hunley has a good one too. The missing 411. You've heard of that, right? Thousands of people go missing in all our national parks, and they either show up or they don't show up. And sometimes when they show up like 30 miles away, and sometimes they don't show up at all. You know, there's actually over 1 million missing kids a year, or almost 1 million missing kids a year in the United States that disappear without a trace. Let's see. John Doe, the Jinn are tricksters. Heinrich, Jinn are fucking cheap-ass Hebe demons. Hunley, all over the world now. Yeah, even more all over the world. John Doe, like Loki. Nuggets, well, you didn't have to put the bone there. Fuck, Heinrich says. I caught up. Wow. Okay, good.
Oh, that flashed away really quick. What did that say?
It's dry. That was short. You should make that animation last a little longer. I could barely read it.
disappeared.
You
I heard
you
the
ought to
noise
put
and it
you
was
ought to put
gone.
the little you see what Cog does with his cognac glass. You ought to put the cognac glass there.
I'm not sure if I wanted it. Here you go. Shit. $2 from the Nuggets saying, "Here you go."
Thank
Shit.
shit. And what's the world's shortest word? Motherfucker. What's the longest one? Shit. Uh,
Oh.
okay. Well, you've given us a lot of ideas. The missing 411, the Hollow Earth, the Jinn, the lizard people, but Heinrich doesn't seem too interested in the. I think he was saying it just as a joke. Um, but
There was something
we'll
you
we'll
said in
have to
there I
see.
wanted to
We'll have
go
to
on.
see
I'll figure that
how
out.
much is out there for that. And so we can give you something substantial. I mean, if there's a single story and a single picture, then it's kind of hard to. The ones you gave us, at least most of them are pretty substantial topics. So yeah, we'll have to mull it over and see what we'll throw them all against the wall and see what sticks.
You know what? We
Right?
could also, if you guys would like, because I don't want to. Our field for this show is pretty wide open. Just availability. I've been lightly looking into documents given to the government and investigations conducted by the government over documents. Feel free to throw us something. Maybe we'll learn something that we haven't already seen. You know what I mean? I don't mind looking at something I have no clue what it is. And I don't know why the bot's not working. Let me try it this way.
Yeah, the Men in Black will make an alt and then give us secret information. So we spread it on a stream, and then they come knocking on your door and take you away to the funny farm. I did see an interesting video on the Men in Black. There's a new there's a new security camera footage of the Men in Black at a hotel, and they catch them walking in through the lobby doors and out through the lobby doors, and they look strange, all black fedora, long black overcoats, really pale pasty skin, dark sunglasses, classic Men in Black.
Yeah. I'm trying to check on those coins now because I don't know why the bot's not working. I told it to give you money and the bot's like, "No, no, I'm going to take my time."
Speaking of coins, there are some coins that show UFOs and aliens, and they're ancient coins. They were found.
Oh man, the things that
And there's some Sumerian coins that actually show the globe and the northeastern coast of the United States. And there's a belief that Sumeria actually took their boats across the Atlantic Ocean into the Great Lakes and ended up mining copper in Michigan, bringing the copper back to the Mediterranean for the Bronze Age. How do you like them apples?
yeah, long before Bronze
Long
Age
before,
was yeah.
and there's also now it's kind of known that the Chinese had these huge ships, monstrous ships, bigger than any ship that England and France and Spain made, and way earlier. And they went across the Pacific Ocean and ended up not only visiting California, but visiting the west coast of South America. That's a pretty interesting tidbit. No,
I'm
no.
here. I'm here. I'm just trying to refresh something and
Happy,
see if
happy,
that works.
joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy,
Oops.
joy, joy,
Well,
happy,
I
happy,
made a
joy,
mistake in your favor,
happy,
Lenugs.
happy, joy,
Am I
joy,
still here?
happy, happy, joy,
Lenugs, you should
happy,
be very
happy,
happy if
joy,
you're still
joy,
here.
happy, happy, joy. Remember, don't
Whoops.
whiz on the electric fence.
I think I did something wrong, but
What did
Lenugs
you
should be
do?
happy. I
Did you
gave
did
him
you
way too
actually
many coins.
Oh, how many coins did you give him?
A few hundred.
Oh, you should give people like 1,000 coins to start.
It's if you do donate, you get a bone for every
Even
penny.
aliens were capitalists. Is that why they flew over the Capitol in the 50s? I don't know if you ever caught the thing I always paste, the thing I always type about aliens. It's a gray aliens lives antimatter. I've been known to put that in a chat or two.
Lenug, I accidentally gave you an extra 400 on top of the 200 I give you for the $2. On top of the fact that you're wrenched and you get twice as many bones as the unwrenched people, which is like 1 or 2 bones per minute. Like, bones quickly accumulate in here. I could turn it up some more, and I will. How am I cheap ass? You only gave me $2, which I greatly appreciate, but I'm cheap. I gave you 200, you gave me 2.
That's what, a penny a bone?
It's a penny a bone.
And then you
I'm
gave
cheap.
him 400, and then you gave him 400 on
I guess
top of
that does
that?
make me a cheap ass. I'm cheap. My ass is... No, I'm not taking bones for a penny. I'm giving bones for a penny. So
Hey, by the way, you ought to always look out for the $1 million penny. It's out there. You know, you
right?
guys, do you guys know about the $1 million penny? Chat?
I forget what year it is, and I can't sit and look at
In
it.
1943, when the mint started making steel pennies, okay, there were a couple handfuls of blank copper slugs in the minting machine, and those went out with the steel pennies. So in circulation right now, there are copper, weedy 1943 pennies that look like any other penny out there, but they're not supposed to be copper in 43. And those pennies are $1 million. So we're talking about the lotto floating around there, guys, out there. And it could be anywhere. Could be anywhere. I mean, there was a video a few years ago about a guy who'd been collecting pennies his entire life, and he had 15 of those damn huge water cooler bottles filled with pennies, and he brought them to the bank and ended up with $7,000. So could have been in there. And now it's back in circulation. So look for the $1 million penny. You'd really regret it.
I've got like 1,400 pennies. I'll go through them when I get a minute. I've consistently, because you started telling me about coins, I set silver aside, and I've done other things. Gotta roll. Have a good night, gents. Have a good night, Doc. Thanks for stopping by. Actually, you know what? We're gonna roll. We're just shy of 2 hours right now, and I'm thinking everybody in my house is getting mad at me because most of my shows are around an hour.
Okay. But
so, let me find this fancy outso stream.
Let's stick a pin in it because we're done.
Make sure you slap, clap, kick, kiss, or whatever you want to do with any button you want to do it with on the way out of the stream.
Would you comment? Write a few words.
Yeah.
What are we? Your mom? Something. You can't write us a letter?
Dada wants to read something, and when I post this video in the morning, I will go back and I will add Dada's link to his channel in the details to the streams.
Yes,
so
I mirror
his channel now.
I mirror all the shows on mine. They're nice and orderly with episode numbers and descriptions. Of course, you won't see the chat in mine. I think you see the chat in yours, right?
Yeah, you can't download and transfer the chat.
Right. So you
But
won't see the chat in mine.
folks, it's been an awesome night. Because if it wasn't, I wouldn't have gone for 2 hours. Because I don't waste time like that. So thanks everybody for making the night awesome. Thank you Lenugs for sponsoring our stream for $2 today. Today the stream was sponsored by Lenugs. And a big fuck you to everybody. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
Bye.